Hey guys, part 2 of my Godzilla-thon, Godzilla Raids Again. This film was put out like 6 months after the original, so the term quickie sequel comes to mind. And again, spoiler alert for an over 60-year-old movie. The story centers around some characters. The two main characters work for a fishing company. They're pilots and they help the ships find the schools of fish. One has engine trouble. His buddy comes to look for him, and on the island they discover a new Godzilla and he's fighting Anguirus. This film is the debut of Anguirus, one of Godzilla's most popular co-stars. And one thing I do say, this film does a good job making you like the characters. You can tell they care for each other, they're resilient, willing to bounce back. After the battle in Osaka, the owner of the fishing company, he's got that spirit. He's willing to rebuild. The people who had lost their homes are there at the office salvaging what they can. They may have lost everything, but they're going to pick up and rebuild. And the people in this movie have a great sense of resiliency. Now, this film is the first of what I like to consider the two Growing Pains movies. This and King Kong vs. Godzilla, where you see they have some growing pain issues with the special effects. Notably in this one, the filming process, they would crank the camera a lot faster, and the actor would move as fast as he could in the suit. And then when they play the footage back at normal speed, it just helps sell what the movements looked like. This one, they didn't quite do that so well. The fight scene, the monsters are moving a little too fast. But with that being said, this is still one of the most brutal, for my money, the most brutal animalistic fight in the franchise. Godzilla and Anguirus are mauling at each other, biting at each other, shoving each other back and forth. It's kind of how you would expect two giant monsters like that to fight. So this is one of the best fights in the franchise, and the black and white visuals help sell it. It just adds to the gloominess. Which I noticed something interesting in the music. Akira Ikefube, I believe, was not the composer for this one. But there's one piece of music, you hear two notes that sound very similar to the notes you hear after Godzilla destroyed the final Muto in 2014. So, yeah, I'd say that composer was a fan of the music in this movie. And it's a great non Ikefube score. Now, Dr. Yamane has a brief cameo in this, and I'm going to compare versions. The original, he shows them a footage of Godzilla, tells them about the oxygen destroyer and that another one can't be made. But when he shows the footage, he's quiet and it helps sells the scene where in the American re-edit, Godzilla Raids Again, Gigantus the Fire Monster, call it what you will, he narrates the whole thing and it undersells the visuals. It makes the scene less somber and haunting, because the only sound effect you hear in the Japanese version is just the sound of the projector. And it's a masterful scene. Now, they do introduce something else cool in this, and it's kind of a nod to something in the original script that Godzilla got agitated and destroyed a lighthouse in Tokyo Bay, and they attempt to use flares to lure Godzilla away from Osaka. Doesn't work so good. Well, it does, but just a series of bad luck. There's a scene where some inmates escape from a car. It causes a car accident by a oil tank, and it blows. The flames lure Godzilla to the city, and oh, that was not good. the flares drew Anguirus to the city, so the two fight and just destroy everything in their path. And again, this is, other than the odd speed, this is a amazing fight scene. It's the first kaiju versus kaiju battle, two men in a suit wrestling it out, and for what it is, it's amazing. It's a work of art. I wish they wouldn't have had the issues with the overcranked footage, but it's still very effective. Just the way they maul at each other. Godzilla biting and ripping at the back of Anguirus's neck. Now, I talked. Now, what I like after the battle in Osaka, the fishing company relocates to, I think it's Hokkaido, and they get back with their life. And when I talked about the characters being nice, resilient, and likable, the one Kobayashi, who was the one who went down on the island they found Godzilla and Anguirus, he drops a note out the window to one of the fishing boats, and it's just basically saying, "Good luck with the big catch." You can tell these characters really do care about each other. In like the one scene I like, when they're in the ruins of the factory, despite all they just lost, they're still able to just laugh together. Now, there's a subplot where Kobayashi, you can tell he's in love with one of the radio operator girls, and his friend who rescued him spots Godzilla in the ocean. This is after Anguirus is killed, and because his friend's about to run out of fuel, he gets in his plane to go relieve him. Well, he leaves his wallet in the haste. In the radio operator, well, I'll get to that. Ultimately, his plane winds up crashing into the icy mountain and kind of holding Godzilla at bay on the island. And the girl opens it and discovers the two pictures of them together. And it's a very touching scene. And then we have the great scene where the jets are attacking the mountain and just covering Godzilla in ice. Not a permanent fix, but at least they'll get him stopped for then. And just like the first one, it takes a great act of self-sacrifice to stop Godzilla. It was a nice theme. This is a well-made movie. I'd say it's a must-see, which if you're a Godzilla fan, it's a rite of passage to see every movie in the franchise anyway, even Godzilla's Revenge. But it's just a solid, good movie. The cinematography is great. The acting, again, great. It's just, granted, I don't speak the language and I have to read subtitles on this one, but I can tell the actors are giving it their all. Granted, there's some scenes where if you look carefully at the people in the city fleeing, some of them are smiling and laughing, but that's something that plagued movies like this. I can overlook it. So, this is shorter than the last review, but Godzilla's Revenge. Check it out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment below, and stay tuned for the next review, which is King Kong vs. Godzilla.